Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where we will go beyond the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Be part of down-to-earth, no BS conversations where we will explore hot topics on love and money, relationships and business, beauty, and who we get to be with all that shit in between. With our insights and your actions, let's be unstoppable together. Let's go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Tina and I want to talk about you are the work. You know, and we're both decided that we don't want it to be heavy and significant. We want to make this light and fun because when we say work, people think, oh my God, what do I have to do? One more thing to add to my plate. What else do I have to say? What else do I have to do? Well, it's not about that. But, you know, in our previous episode, we had talked about being worthy. Like we are worth it. And we are. But when you don't understand what the work means, and I don't mean buy another self-help book. I mean, all of those things are great. They are. Self-help books, podcasts, all of that is wonderful. But you're being the work, you have to be in action. And I think that, you know, Tina and I have talked about intention plus action equal results, and we get the results. And when we see them, oh, the joy. And I mean, sometimes it does. We back up a little bit. Sometimes we move forward and there is roadblocks in our way. But knowing that when we're working towards something that isn't an end game, it's just a daily thing, and being able to listen to ourselves and really go within and ask ourselves what is important. Not what do I have to do, but what do I get to do? So that's what we want to talk about today. And it is about, you know, I worked very hard in my my 20s and 30s, most of my 40s as well. I worked hard. I owned a business. I had a staff, and I loved what I did, but I worked long hours. I didn't take many vacations. My kids were young. I had my husband worked midnight, so it was great. He was home with the kids. So you know what I mean? Like I worked, I built something. And it meant a lot to me. And I thought that would be my legacy. I thought one of my kids maybe would go into hair and then be able to take over the salon and everything else. And I did all that work. And I didn't ever get quiet into asking Vicki what she wanted, not what she felt she had to do to make ends meet, but what she wanted. And it wasn't until I was in my 50s, like 51, 52, that I really started saying, what do I want? And then in the last couple of years, I just turned 57. In the last couple of years, I'm like, I know what I want. And it isn't a thing. It isn't a state of anything other than I just want to fill my life with happiness and joy and be able to give it away to others that need the support. That's it. Simple. You know, and that's the work that I do every day when I get up and I, spend that quiet time by myself, when I'm with my grandchildren, and I sat with friends on the weekend and I thanked just to myself quietly, like looked at them and like, these have been people in my life since I was 16 years old, like 41 years we've been friends. This is what happiness is for me, is being surrounded by people that are still here with you, that love you unconditionally. And you love them unconditionally through ups and downs. And I mean, all the skeletons and all the good times. But it was work for me to work on myself and see myself keep growing and being able to give a little back and then getting a little back, right? You give and you get. And it's just a beautiful thing for me to really sit with the people in my life that I love so much.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And I mean, it's the epitome of presence when we can do that. And I think for me over the years, the definition of work for me is totally different. Doing the work, I think back to a few years ago when I was studying at Landmark and doing all my seminars, the work was have integrity, put integrity in your life, and, uncover all your blind spots. And that was very confronting, but I always felt this heightened sense of, oh my God, am I doing it right? Is this the right process? Am I letting go? Am I doing the work? I was always in my head. And now the work for me is one thing. It's having certainty that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. And that's it, really. It doesn't matter the highs, the lows, the everything is the work for me every day. I say this little meditation or this prayer. I'm like, I know there's 1,000 paths that I could take today, but there's only one right for me. Only one. Help me see that path today. Today.
Yeah.
What's the path that I'm supposed to take today? And I really do sit with this, and that is the work to listen for what is my path today?
Mhm.
What is the difference I'm supposed to make today? And it's easy to think about, oh my gosh, but I got to make money. Oh my gosh, I got to grow my business. Oh my gosh, I need this funnel. Da, 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 da. Nope, none of that
Awesome.
really matters. And I'm seeing it more and more and more. The work for me is, how do I get out of my head to be able to listen for what path I'm supposed to take today?
That's not
And
easy for you either. That's not
it's
easy.
not.
You come from a teacher background, right? In your head, right? Like what you've come from and what you've built. And even in the last 7 years, 5 years, 4 years that I've known you, that's what it's been about. And, I get that because I was there. I worked, 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 worked. And that was what I thought was the work. That is what I thought was the work. And it wasn't
Yeah.
until, and I put a post out today on my social media about, you taught me on who you get to be. And it took me a long time to really get it. You asked me it, and I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure out all these things. I was trying to take courses. And you know what I mean? When I first started into personal development, I took it on with velocity, everything. Give it to me. It was like, fire hose to the mouth, as you would say. And then I was like, but then I was just working through it. I never stopped to listen. I never
Mhm.
got quiet and asked myself the same thing that you say. What path shall I take today? Maybe today
Yeah.
is a
And
curl up on the couch with a book day, and that's okay. That's still work. And that's what we need to understand. It's not about go, 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 and you have to, you have to, you have to. It's about allowing yourself that time to get quiet and hear what you're supposed to do for you. It's not about the doing all the time, right?
well, and it reminds me of the book we just finished reading. I think, is it Matthew Kahn? The
Yes.
universe always has a plan,
Yes.
and there's, 10 golden rules to live life. And when I was listening to this book, I was realizing that presence is key. And I realized how not present I actually was, because if I'm worried about the future and I don't have certainty, and like, people that have money fear losing money, people that don't have money fear living on the streets. When things don't work out, our ego will say to us, see, you're failing, it's not going to
Mhm.
work, you might
Yep.
as well just sell your life and sell your house and get
Yep.
it.
Yep.
But
True.
the soul knows this is exactly where you're supposed to be right now.
Yep.
But it's really hard because I had a conversation with somebody, and he was basically saying that, you should meditate more. Just meditate, get quiet. And I remember kind of fighting him back a little bit, in the sense where I said, but we still have to make money. We can't just meditate our life away. And I said, and you can't just manifest money. You actually have to do some work too. I don't believe in this whole, you just sit there, meditate, and, you know, everything falls on your lap. It doesn't work that
No.
way. But being present long enough to listen in the meditation, to see what is the next step. Where am I being guided? And I know in the last little while, I've I've been guided to do something, and my ego was saying it's never going to work. That's ridiculous. What are you going to do? Start over again? Blah, 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 blah. But there's something in me, my essence knows this is, and I don't have to understand it fully, and I don't have to have it all figured out. I got to just trust the guidance and come from my soul, not money driven, not ego driven, not look at me, but what is it that I have to give to the world that makes me unique? And when I was sitting, actually, I was I was sitting in a meditation, then I went to the shower and I heard, teach people how to share stories. I'm like, what? Then my head went to, well, Kendra Scott is the best storyteller. Donald Miller is a great storyteller. All of these people are great story. Who's Tina Brigley? I'm like, that is the ego stopping you.
Yep.
There's billions of people, but listening for that guidance and then taking a path, me stepping on that path was the work. It wasn't easy. It wasn't, oh, I got to do. It was listening to the guidance. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but why? But how? But, all of those, yeah, buts, what ifs. It's like, okay, what if I just take one step? What if I just take one more step? And what if every day I just listen for the guidance? What am I supposed to do today?
Yep.
And every day I hear one thing. And this morning in my meditation, so I set my alarm clock for 5:30. I don't get out of bed. I focus on my breathing and I listen and I set the intention. What's the path I'm supposed to take today? And immediately this morning I heard a whisper. And the whisper was, pay what you can. I'm like, pay what you can. So I was getting ready to launch this thing, and it was not a super high ticket, but it had a high ticket price. And I heard, pay what you can. And I thought, that's going to diminish it. It's going to cheapen it. People are going to think I'm desperate. All of the ego thoughts came in. And all I did was practice tuning out the ego thoughts. Because in the grand scheme of things, what does it matter?
Yep.
What does it matter?
Yep.
If I'm making $10,000 off of something that could make a difference, or if I'm making $10, what does it matter in the grand scheme of things? If my intention is to share something that I believe to be extremely valuable, what the ego puts a high ticket price on it. And the noise will confirm, oh no, blah, 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 blah. But I heard it. It didn't make sense to me. I'm like, it cost me $17,000 to do this. It cost that. The ego was saying, but like, you're diminishing yourself. But the soul was saying, so who cares? Give it away. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense with me. But that's what I did when I got to my computer this morning. I started building. And the first thing I did was pay what you can.
Yeah.
I just trusted. I had certainty that I don't know why, but I heard this whisper for a reason and I just have to trust it.
Yeah.
That to me, the work.
Yes.
The work
it
is really? My ego was like, you can't fucking do that. That is insane. Right? That's crazy.
But
I was like, okay, I don't know.
But you know what, Tina, it's, and as much as, that's our inner dialogue, right? The fight between our ego and our essence. And I felt the same way over this last few years. And, I built my website and then I changed it and then I built it and then I changed it and then I did this. But you know what? It was never me. I wasn't listening. I was not listening. I was listening to everyone else's thoughts and opinions. I was not listening to what I wanted. I want someone to come on my website and say, oh, she went through that. Maybe she can help me. Or, maybe it'll just open open their eyes this much so that they can see themselves in that and they know it's possible that they can do this. It's not about, for me, and I told you this before too, and when you said that, pay what you can, it's not about the money. It's about the impact. And yes, we all need to make a living. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not about the money because yes, we do need to make a living. We need to pay our bills just like everybody else. But it can't drive the car anymore. It had the want, the change, the desire. That's what gets us moving, and everything else I truly believe will come. I truly do. I had a salon during the hard times, through the good times, through the bad times. And when I had clients sit in my chair that were going through a divorce or a loss of a job, or didn't matter, what can you afford today? You tell me what you can afford so that I know that you're still going to feel good about yourself. Because when you look in that mirror, you don't look any different than you did before you were getting the divorce, or you didn't, right? That feeling of worthiness was still in there. So you get to do the work and not worry about how much your hair costs. That was important to me. And I did that with clients for years.
Yeah. And
because
that
I chose
that's
to.
amazing to me. I didn't really learn about this, like pay what you can, until I really started studying Kabbalah, and somebody sent me a webinar. David Guillaume was leading the webinar, or the seminar. I don't know what it was called, but I remember thinking, man, I've paid hundreds, thousands of dollars for courses like this, and they had an option, pay what you can.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I don't know. I know it's worth $1,000, but how many $1,000 programs can I pay? I've already invested $120,000 in high-end programs and anything that would lead me to, get what I need, what I felt
Yes.
that I needed to get to the next level. And I thought, how many other people are in my situation that want the knowledge, that want the training, that have a passion burning inside of them? But at some point, you have to stop giving everything away that you've worked
Yeah,
for. And so
absolutely.
when pay what you can, and I remember, investing, I think it was $100 USD for Kabbalah One. And then it was like, okay, well, then I invested another $100 and another $100, and I'm still investing. So there's no like bread of that, what they call is bread of shame, when you
Right.
give and give and you don't get
Yeah.
anything in return. But for me, it was like, okay, so then what did I give? I got something of so high value that was affordable. And then I gave some of that away too. I shared, I got more people to show up. And this
Mhm.
is how I believe the world can work, is that instead of just letting money drive, business drive, um, let's go live in a mansion. Let's go, look at me.
Mhm.
Look at the lifestyle I have. I'm driving in my Cadillac Escalade and I'm flying jets and I'm flying first class. Look at what I got. I would rather have people reach out to me and say, wow, your storytelling framework shifted my life.
Yep.
I have impacted so many lives because I share. So many people said, thank you for sharing your journey with me. I see myself in your journey. That, I'm really clear, was not my intention when I started this.
Mhm.
It's my intention now.
Yeah.
How do we make a ripple in the world? How do we get access to people, or give access to people who truly have a desire? And for me, I learned that from the Kabbalah Institute.
Mhm. Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's not about the money. It's about making sure it's accessible to everybody. This is how we make an impact. So, and to me, this is the work,
Yeah.
because there's no way. I used to tell people, no, if your fee is $10,000, stand in your worth, you're worthy, people will pay for that. I know, but that's not, I know my soul is saying, that's not who you are. But it's so easy because every time I open social media, I see multiple ads. I see, you know, all of this noise. I hear the noise. I have to literally turn off my social media sometimes because I won't know what's my voice and somebody else's voice, what's coming from the creator through me or what's coming from somebody else. I will get caught in, well, maybe I should be doing it like them. They
I know.
clearly know what they're talking about. They have an 8-figure business. And the work for me is stop. You listen to the guidance.
Yeah.
You listen for what
Yep.
you need to do. And then you show up from that space. That is hard work for me. It
Oh,
really is hard.
absolutely. Oh, I know.
I'm
And
not
I've
gonna
seen it. It is. And I've seen the transition, Tina. I've seen it. I remember times when I didn't have a pot to piss in myself when I was married to my ex-husband. We didn't have things because he didn't work full time. I did, and I could only bring in and do so much, right? But the work wasn't about how much we got to bring in. It was about how we got to do it together, in my mind. I just worked harder and harder. But now I look at it financially, I'm going to be okay. Financially, that's okay. And it always was. I always made it. I always
Yeah.
paid my bills. Maybe I only could pay what I could afford instead of paying my whole credit card off. Maybe I only paid a little over the minimum payment sometimes. That's okay. Nobody gets to tell you how you have to do things. We get to discover that on our own. And if it comes, and I believe integrity is something like you had said with Landmark. I took Landmark and it really opened my eyes to the possibilities because I didn't look at things that way. And I did carry a lot of stories, right? And we all do. We all have stories. But I got
Everybody.
to realize, yes, yes. And I got to see that a story is just a story. What really happened? Like, right? Because when we tell a story, okay, so you and I can have something happened yesterday and you have one perception of it. I have one perception of it. And then there was the truth, right? What really happened? So we all have our own perception, but we all have our own stories. And now you're getting to create a story that's going to work for Tina Brigley, not what's going to work for Tina and somebody else or Tina, whatever. You get to do what's best for Tina. And I think that women, and I do work primarily with women. I have a lot of men in my life that I love and I have learned tons from. My dad being one of those people that I learned a whole bunch from. But I also have my feminine way of doing it. I learned from my mom too. And those two people combined helped me see what I got to see. And now I get to realize that now that they're gone, what they both gave me, I get to do the work on how to blend those two things together and become a woman in my power that gets to help other women see that they have the same power.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I didn't know that that's what it was. I thought that I wanted to help people discover their inner beauty because, right? And it is all about the internal and it is about how it makes you feel. But you get to find the strength in who you choose to be in this shitstorm. And you taught me that in being resilient and showing me that, okay, this didn't work. What's next? And listening, getting quiet, doing the work within first to be able to give you people the work out there. Like you get to give it away. That's why you take it on so that you can give it away. But it is worth something. And that's what I believe is true is your hard work is worth something. It's worth something to those people that you give it to, and it changes people's lives with each person that you share it with. If we all can be that way, just think about the ripple effect that we get to create in the world if that's the way we look at it.
Yeah. I mean, life is truly a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful process. And yesterday, actually, I was talking to a friend and she's like, how do you navigate the uncertainty? Because we both left our teaching jobs to pursue entrepreneurship. And she's in the thick of like, do I want to coach? Do I want to speak? She's in it, right? And I'm like, I get exactly how you're feeling. I get what you're going through right now and how it feels turbulent and how it feels
Yeah.
uncertain. But trust, the universe always has a plan. And
Mm-hmm.
that when you feel like you're going backwards, you're not. The ball is already in motion. And your only job right now is to get quiet and listen and believe that you are put on this planet for a reason. And it doesn't matter what the package is, what you give away. The answers are already there. Just trust that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now and breathe through this. Breathe
Yeah.
through this. She's like, oh my gosh. And she said, you're vulnerable with me. I'm vulnerable with you. And I said, yeah, this is what it looks like. This is what the
Mm-hmm.
work actually looks like. We're high achievers. We're results producers. And we're asked to sit without knowing the next step until we hear the next step. That is not easy for people like us. But trust me, when you are willing to do that work, you are safe. You are secure. Your family is safe. You have a roof over your head. You have
Yeah.
money in the bank. Forget what the ego's telling you
Yeah.
right now. Just be willing to be in the space of you don't have to have it all figured out.
Yes.
And she's like, that makes so much sense. And I said, everybody goes through this process.
Mhm.
Everybody goes through this messy middle. Nobody fucking talks about it though. And, people look at this, look what I have, look at me sitting by my pool. Whether it's real or not, we don't know.
Nope.
Social media is full of AI bullshit. I don't
Yeah.
know what's real, what's
No.
not, but it's like there is a messy middle and it's not comfortable and it feels uncertain and it feels like you can't breathe. It's okay. I promise you will rise above
Mhm.
this, you know? And I know that I need to share these stories of the messy middle because so many people feel like they're alone. They're not worthy. They're not good enough. They're not
Oh,
smart enough. Why
yeah.
can't they figure it out? Why does everybody else have it figured out and I don't? And I want you to know if that's you right now and you're in the messy middle, know that it's okay. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And it does not feel comfortable.
Mhm.
And not everybody's willing to be there, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in the middle of a divorce, or you're in the middle of a job change, or you're going through a life transition like a death of a spouse or a parent or a child, or wherever you are in the messy middle, this is where I'm going to say, like, your diamond is being constructed. You are a
Mhm.
diamond, and you can only be really stretched and expanded under the pressure,
Mhm. Yeah.
under the darkness, the messy middle. But this is essential and it's beautiful. But breathe. Don't forget to breathe. uh, and be okay with knowing that it is the messy middle and it is uncertain and it's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
And
And it's
it's
not easy. It's not. It's not. It's
oh,
freaking hard.
oh
But that is the work. And that's what what I liked about what you just said too. It's okay. It is exactly where we're supposed to be. You know, we talked about books, and then there's a book that I want to bring up, and I can't get into it all right now, but if you can read The New Happy, I suggest you read that book too. M- Listen to Matt Kahn's book because he's a wonderful narrator. I
oh,
love
me
listening to
too.
him, the way he speaks, and he's fun and he's raw and he's vulnerable, and I really loved that book. But if you can listen to or read The New Happy, do that as well because it's pretty powerful, and it shows us what we get to do with our lives. We get to. And I love
Yeah.
this. I love that we get to talk about these things. So remember, if you're looking for help or support, there's always support out there. And Tina and I would direct you in the way. If it isn't one of us that can help you, we know people. We would love to help support you. So yeah, reach out anytime.
Thanks for being here, guys.
See you next time. Well, friends, that is the end of our episode today. If you love this episode, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And please share us with your friends and tag us on your socials at The Art of Being Unstoppable. So for today, have yourself a beautiful day and let's be unstoppable together. See you next time.